Thank you for coming in. Thank you for joining me on the replay. If you have any questions about today's broadcast, you can send me a message on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. I'm CreativLEI in all those places as well. Good evening. Hello, everybody. I am back at home. Home safe. Yay! So I just wanted to come and check in with you guys. I sent out a post this afternoon to just kind of check in with you since I didn't put up a new assignment today. Thank you so much. Thank you all of you guys that are giving hearts already. That is awesome. Thanks for coming in. Hi, Tina. It's good to see you. Thank you for sharing on Instagram today. That really blessed me. So how was your weekend? I just wanted to thank you guys for coming on in. For those of you that are joining me for the first time, my name is Lisa. I blog at Looking at Life CreativLEI, and you can find me on Twitter and all that. Oh, I'm so glad you're enjoying it, Connie. Not as fun as mine. Yeah. Thank you so much. For those of you that peeked in last night, I did some broadcasts from my brother's wedding. And for anyone that has not been to a wedding in New York, it's pretty hysterical. It's very loud. There was a DJ and there was lots of dancing. It was a blast. We had so much fun. The DJs for their wedding were actually DJs we've used for many, many years. So we kind of like grew up with them. They're about my age, like only a year or two older. And so it was really like a blast from the past. I said, those of you that joined the Mom Hop mixtape night, like I got to relive the mixtape last night, and it was so much fun. Like I felt no guilt for all of the delicious, terrible foods that I ate because I danced all night long. So it was awesome. But I'm back home now, so it's time to settle in and get ready for the week ahead. I have to get my school children ready for the week and get my homeschool children ready for the week. We've got our enrichment activities on Tuesday. We have dance tomorrow, and it's back to the grind and lots of laundry to do with it. Thank you, those of you that are sharing. I truly appreciate that. So this afternoon I posted that today was going to be catch-up day because I noticed that we had lots of new joiners this weekend and lots of people that are seeing some posts that you all are sharing on Instagram, and they're curious, and then they're thinking, well, it's already started, so I can't jump in. They can absolutely jump in at any point because every weekend is going to be a catch-up time. The next couple of weekends, there will be like a specific assignment, but it's mostly going to be catch-up time, catch-up and looking for inspiration. So like in the post that I wrote today, I said I wanted you to go and search the hashtag so that you guys can look at each other's work because you guys are doing amazing. And I've just loved to read the little testimonies that you guys have been sharing. Sarah's going to start tomorrow. See, it's not too late. And for those of you that are worrying about the supply list, I've said it before and I'll say it again, that you absolutely do not need to have every list that's on the supplies. The supply list that I put together was just a comprehensive list of some of my favorite tools, but the techniques and the things that I'm going to share with you, you absolutely can try these techniques with whatever you have at home. The list of supplies is on, it was one of the prequel posts for this series. The title is, Do You Want to Learn Hand Lettering? And that was posted 2 weeks ago on Friday. And it's awesome because lots of you guys have found me through that post, which has been just so awesome. You haven't seen the supply list. Okay, let's see. If you go to my blog, actually, if you go to the main page for this challenge, the Write 31 Days Love Your Lettering Challenge, in that post is a link to the post that I did. It says, Do You Want to Learn Hand Lettering is the title. You can certainly search that. It's in the handcrafted category, which is the same category that those of you that are getting daily emails from, you're getting them from that category. And towards the bottom of that post, I have just kind of a list of things that I would suggest for this series. But like I said, most of them are just suggestions. It's the types of things that I'll be using. But please don't hesitate to join if you don't have them all, because you absolutely don't need to. Most of the techniques that I'm using, you can certainly do with pencil, because that's really the best way to practice without ruining the nibs of pens, and to get the feel for angles and pressure and all those things. So you can absolutely just choose the favorite pen that you have around the house, have a nice pencil and an eraser and a notebook. I do recommend graph paper, either a composition book, which is what I use because I love composition books, but you can certainly print your own graph paper, or, sorry for the harsh lighting, you scoped about the book today. I was on the road. I thought I saw the notification, but I couldn't jump on because we had just walked into the rest stop. I was like, should we stay while I have Wi-Fi? But I needed to get home because I wanted to be able to check in with you tonight, and I wanted to get the kids in bed at a somewhat decent hour so that they can get up tomorrow morning. Lucky them, though, they only have a half day of school tomorrow, so I think it's going to be nap time in the Walters home tomorrow. You had fun making the notebook. I'm so glad that you did. I still need to get some red duct tape for the cover of mine because I do want to decorate the front. It was fun. It was so much fun. We danced all night long, and even my littlest one, she actually slept through the last 2 hours of the wedding, which if you haven't caught on yet, my children don't sleep. They hardly ever sleep. They certainly don't nap, but my 2-year-old napped during the wedding reception in the room with all the loud music. And two of my sisters recently had babies. We have a 5-week-old and a 1.5-week-old baby in our family. And so there were little bassinets. The rock and plays were in there. And I put the 2-year-old in the rock and play, and she slept for 2 hours. And it was awesome. So I actually got to eat my dinner and dessert and dance without having her on my hip, which made me not have quite a sore arm as I thought I would have today. Yeah, she was exhausted because the night before she didn't sleep. We had kind of an awful night on Friday night trying to get her to sleep. She was up every hour. It was crazy. But hopefully they'll all sleep tonight, and tomorrow we can just do a chill day, hopefully, once they get home from school. You're going to look up the hashtag on Twitter and follow everyone doing the challenge. Yeah, I still need to go into Twitter and search the hashtag. I've been kind of checking into Instagram through the weekend because that is, before Periscope, Instagram was my favorite social media. But now there's Periscope, and I love this. So, yeah, I'm going in, and I'm trying to, a lot of you have been tagging me, which has been wonderful because then it, of course, brings my attention to it. And I'm enjoying that you guys are sharing. It's been wonderful. Someone posted directly on the Facebook page today, and that was awesome too. And I don't have that open because I just put my laptop on the desk. But it was wonderful. So I kind of want to recap of where we are so far. So I'm pulling it up on my blog so that I can know what I'm talking about, right? So I'm not too crazy. And so part of the reason why I did the catch-up day today, I considered putting up a post last night with new assignments for today, but I want to, you can search the hashtag probably on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. Hashtags aren't searchable on Periscope yet. My blog has a Facebook page, so it's just Facebook/CreativLEI, and it's just my blog's page. It's not a group. I have a group, but I haven't used it yet. You're looking for the list on my blog and can't seem to find it. Let's see. If you are in the handcrafted category, which is the last one on the gray bar across the top, if you look on that and go into the second page of that category, go on the second page. It's kind of halfway down. It's below, and I don't have, it was September 25th's post. So you should be able to find that. Hopefully you can find it that way. So let's do a little recap because we're only about a week in. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for joining. So the 25th was when I first introduced what the series was going to be, and just kind of to whet your appetite. Your two girls are. My 10-year-old daughter wants to join along, and I think I'll have her set up this week during homeschool hours. Hi, Kim. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I'm trying to get my 12-year-old son to practice with us too, he's a lefty too, but he's a dominant left. I'm left-handed, but I'm dominant right, which is kind of confusing, but it's what works. But my son is a dominant lefty, and some of his things are really, really neat, but some of them are really, really not. So I think going through some of the basic exercises will help him. Oh, good, you got it. So like I said, that supply list is purely suggestions. It's not required to start this. You can certainly pick up and go with whatever you have in the house or easy access to. So there is a post, is Love Your Lettering for Me? And that was from on Tuesday. And I just wanted to answer some of the questions. Yeah, there are creative righties too. Don't be fooled. It's not only left-handed. Righties are creative also. We just exhibit it differently or at different times. But that's the beauty of the lettering, is that it's not just art, it's also skill. And skills can be practiced and perfected, or at least practiced. I don't think any of us truly achieve perfection, although there are few that are very naturally gifted. And like I've seen some lettering work by scribes that I'm like, yeah, it kind of takes your breath away. But we're not doing that. What we're doing is learning how to love our lettering, not, looking like such and such letters, but to find out how our natural handwriting and our creative lettering can be improved upon. And that comes from practice. And so getting into the habit of doing just daily little rote practicing. You were catching up on Catch. I am. Yes. Hi, Marcy. I'm so glad I saw your post that you were getting your notebook set up today, and that's awesome. And I cannot wait to see you at the 2-to-1 conference. So yeah, I'm just recapping the previous week, just to kind of see where everybody is. I know that there were lots of people that joined in this weekend. And of course, I was out of town, which was crazy because I was not expecting this many people to follow along the series. And I knew I was traveling this weekend. There's potential for travel next weekend because it's my 20-year reunion for high school back up in New York. And then the weekend after that is down to the Outer Banks for the 2-to-1 conference. So I'm like, October is going to be absolutely crazy for me. But like, I want to check in with you. You've already learning to improve your own writing. I've noticed that, like, I'm watching the Instagram that you guys are sharing, and I'm noticing people's comments that they're surprised that just something so small, just small practice of such, it seems insignificant, but the more you do that repetitive movement, you start to see where you need to improve because you're noticing the shapes. And that was exactly what my intent of that assignment was. I know I had someone ask me if there was supposed to be a printable with this lesson. And quite honestly, I didn't intend to do a printable because the idea behind it was not just to mimic a shape, but it was to look at the alphabet. That's why we ran it down the left-hand side of the page. I wanted you to look at those letters and to start to see some of those repeated shapes. It's, the lines, the diagonals, the hills, and the valleys. You just volunteered 40-year reunion. I am so excited. Like, I was really looking forward to the 20-year reunion, but when they planned it at a hall that was really kind of expensive, and so I wasn't expecting that, especially during a month that I already had some travel obligations for. And so I'll see what happens, and I totally feel young. I cannot believe that I have a 14-year-old, because it's not possible because I'm only 20, right? But anyway, I'm not 20. I'm getting closer and closer to 40, so there's that. Back to the series, because I'm blabbing, and that's not my intention. I don't really want to kind of carry on because I do value your time here, and I value your time on the blog. I agree, Alexis, we are all 20. Like, I don't know that you mentally get out of that phase, because I certainly still feel like a 20-something, but I'm not. But again, so back on track, I'm totally squirreling because, no, it's my fault because I've missed chatting with you guys. and I do enjoy this. It's really good to check in with you. I know Ben and Evan got to hang out a little bit at Teach Them Diligently in Nashville a couple years ago, and I thought that was a great experience for my son to meet other boys his age in that environment. So that was really fun for me. You wish you were nearing 40? Now, I am glad that we have a good mixed crowd of ladies here, because it's the model of the tightest relationship with the older and the younger. And I appreciate that, because it's something that's really hard for me to find in real life. And so I like even connecting online in those type of manners is really helpful to me. I'm glad we've got some mature women in here. And I am really glad that you guys are all enjoying getting creative with pens and pencils and color. I saw some of the doodle pages that people were adding, and that just makes me smile, because it means you're owning this. And because this is, like I said at the very beginning of this series, this isn't just about me. For me, this series is about consistency, because I need to learn how to give consistent attention to my blog, because it's an avenue that I absolutely love for sharing and creating. But the idea behind the series was to give back to you all, and to give you a skill and practice and information that I could share that could be of value to you, because I recognize that any time that you spend on my blog, or that you spend here on Periscope or anything else, is time that you're giving to me, and I want to value that and give you something in return. So that was the purpose for this series. And so we've gotten just a couple days in. We've gotten 3 days worth of assignments. The first day was to put together the notebook, and also to create an affirmation page where we were reminding ourselves that this was about practice, and it was about progress. It was not about perfection, and it was not about emulating completely lettering that we saw, but developing a love for our own handwriting and to recognize the value of our writing. And I shared with you earlier this week that I like looking at my own handwriting and finding the characteristics that I've gotten from my mom's handwriting and from my dad's handwriting, because I can see those. I can see the resemblances in my writing that I know from my parents' writing. And I want my children to value that also. And then the second day, we did just samples of our natural handwriting. And so the instruction was to do some quick alphabets in print and in script, and some numbers, and then just jotting a few sentences and making a grocery list, because we're going to get to the nuts and bolts of that tomorrow. But I wanted you to not overthink your writing, but to just see what your natural writing is, because we're going to take a closer look at how you connect letters and things like that are all part of improving your own handwriting. Both your parents write in all caps. Were either one of them military? Because that would be interesting to me. I never wrote in all caps until I was in boot camp. I am a Navy veteran. And during boot camp, when we were keeping our notes and filling out certain paperwork, we were required to write in all caps. Oh, they were not in the military. That's just their habit, is to write in all caps. So I love that, because you learn something new. I always thought it was interesting that your dad does too, and he was in the military. August Field, what is your first name? Are you Sarah? I'm trying to learn names, but it's usually difficult for me. You did all caps in schools for architecture class. Do you know that I love architectural writing on blueprints? And that was one of the things when I was in college. Yes, Sarah. Oh, good. I did remember it. I always loved that style. And it really, when I did a semester of school in Italy, and there were some architecture students there for the semester also. And I loved finding out that they actually had to take a class to learn how to write like that. I was like, you mean that's not your natural handwriting? And that kind of gave me freedom, because I was like, hey, I can find writing that I like, and I can learn how to do that. And so then it was like, that wasn't even just like calligraphy, because I had taken calligraphy before. But I was like, I can learn different styles of writing with my own hand. And that was like it was like, ta-da! And so, like, more and more lettering started to come from me because I was like, okay, this is something that can be learned. It's not something that they don't all just write perfectly from the get-go. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And so that's another thing that I want to pass to you guys is that it's a skill. It's a skill that can be learned. You had a handwriting class for your major. What was your major, Nina? Not calligraphy. I took calligraphy in junior high school and high school, but not in college. My college art classes were more design and portraiture. You do it because you used to work at my father's body shop in alphanumeric. Yes, I get that. Any types of standardized forms, usually graphic design, pre-computers. That's awesome. I took commercial. I am from New York, and I graduated from New York City Public Schools, and I graduated with 7 years worth of art in my 4 years of schooling. Your degree is engineering. My husband is an electrical engineer. He does not have neat handwriting. He may even be on here. He downloaded the Periscope app today, but you know what? He's driving. He's not on here. His writing is not so neat, but it's not so bad either. I lost track of thought again. Oh, goodness. Okay, I'm getting back on track. All right, so our second assignment was to do some quick writing in our natural hand so that we could start to observe that when we talk about refining our handwriting tomorrow. The third assignment, which unfortunately there was a glitch. I wrote the post and scheduled it to go out the time that I normally post because my news... the feed that goes out to you guys between 9 and 10 a.m., it's scheduled to go out each day that there's a new post. And the post was scheduled to go live at 5 a.m. and it didn't. And of course, I didn't notice that until later because yesterday we were jam-packed with wedding prep and stuff. So it went live after the newsletter push. And so that's why most of you got that assignment in email this morning. And so I went ahead and quickly edited and put up the catch-up post and shot you guys another email. You typically will never get 2 emails from me in a day because I hate jam-packed inboxes. It is my nemesis to keep that inbox down, and I don't ever want to contribute to stuffing email boxes. So today was an exception. I wanted to get that catch-up post out to you because lots of you all were awesome in checking in with me and saying, hey, I missed my morning message. Are we going to get a new lesson today? So I wanted to be intentional about that time and just say, hey, let's use this as catch-up because I knew that there were lots of girls that wanted to come in through the week and they were afraid of being behind. And you're not behind. This week was intentionally a long week on regular handwriting, and I was afraid to put in a blank day in there, but it was actually already kind of in there. It just was in a different location. So I took a look at the schedule, and I made some sense of it, and I pushed the catch-up day to today, which was perfect because I think that Sundays should be for catching up. I know that my weekends are crazy, and I'm sure that there's lots of you that have crazy weekends also. So many of you were working through that assignment today, and it was basic letter forms. And like I said, I didn't include a printable because it wasn't my intention. I didn't want you to just copy the forms. I wanted you to see the forms as you wrote the letters. And then I made some suggestions on how to do it, paying attention. You didn't receive anything at all, you absolutely can join in. It's at the emails that go out are actually not even the full lesson. What it is it's an excerpt of the new post to this category. The handcrafted category of my blog. I'm very new to the email stuff, so this is new and learning process for me also, and I wanted to make sure that those people that were subscribed to my blog didn't receive an email from me every single day if they were just looking for my typical updates. October is a month of exceptions with me posting daily, and I didn't want to scare away my normal readers that are used to just kind of getting glimpses of life sporadically. So I created a separate mailing list. You're following the regular blog posts. Okay, so then you see messages from me every Friday night, as long as there's something new on the blog. If you would like to receive the daily posts while Love Your Lettering is going on, if you just go into that post, in the first one, there is a sign up, and it's actually a separate list, and it is just a subscription to that category of the blog, so that during October you'll receive a post from me daily. Otherwise, you'll just get the recap at the end of the week as my normal blog update goes up. So hopefully that was making sense, because it was the one that made the most sense to me. And I'll readdress how that's all situated at the end of the month, because I would love for you guys to stay with me. Of course, I won't be posting daily in Handcrafted, because it's not a pace that I can keep up with 6 children at home. But there is still lots of stuff that I would love to share with you more about my Bible journaling, because I don't always use that as art. I do use it more as, I use a lot of lettering in my my journaling Bible, and lots of other handcrafts and things that I like to do and share, especially we've got Christmas coming up, and there are always lots of things that I work on. I do ornaments, and I do felt ornaments for the Jessie tree, and I would love to share that stuff with you guys too. So back to today's carryover catch-up assignment. I'll flip the camera and show you what I was doing, just so that you can get a look at how I process through letter forms. So, and I thank you guys for sticking with me, because I realize that this is a much longer scope than I intended, but it's been so good to catch up with you. So here's my page, and like I said, I've been dating and writing a title for each page, and then I also make note of whatever pen I'm using, so that later on when I flip through, I can recognize which pens I use. And for those of you that have not used a fine liner before, and sorry, I'm lefty, so it's upside down unless I hold it the other way. A small group with church down the, yes, that would be awesome. And then you can bring them all through hand lettering too, because this series will stay free on my blog, because that's why it's there. It's there for sharing. So if you are using a fine liner for the first time, you will notice that it is a little bit of a picky pen. Pull out my scrap paper. So if you normally hold your pen, and I don't normally hook my hand, but for those of you that are right-handed, I'm going to hook it so that you can see. If you tried to write like you would with a normal pen, you would notice that you're getting just scratchy letters. This pen wants to be held perpendicular to the paper because of the way the tip is. So you have to write kind of up and down to get that full thing working. They just came yesterday. Fun to teach in a homeschool co-op. It absolutely can. And I was actually talking to the leader of our enrichment program, because she was like, hey, I would love for you to do lettering with the kids maybe next semester. So we'll see. That was another reason why I'm working through the series with my daughter too. So yeah, so for those of you that are using the fine liners or the zigs for the first time, I did want to bring that up, because I know I handed one of my pens to someone a couple weeks ago at church, and he was like, oh, it doesn't work, and I was going, you're going to ruin my pen, you're not holding it right. And so I thought maybe you guys needed to see that too, is that this style of pen does like to be held kind of straight up and down from the paper, so that way you get the whole thing works. Yeah, I'm a pen snob, and Stephanie, I know that you understand that, because I think you would do the same thing. Hobby Lobby should have zig pens. Michael's does as well, and I think that Joann's may have them also. Sorry, my 2-year-old is pulling my chair. Yeah, it's something that you might not notice if the natural way that you hold pens is up and down, but it depends. So I did want to mention that in case anyone else was struggling and wondering if their pen was broken. Sorry, I've got a lap rider right now. Yeah, I am very particular with my pens. I try to have a little more freedom with them, because most of them are fairly inexpensive and I can replace them, but I hate to have to if I don't need to. If they're not run out of ink, I want to use them till they're dry. Okay, so we've got straight lines, but we need to do both downstrokes and upstrokes. So when I did this line, I did every other one. I went down, up, down, up, and so on and so on. And the same thing with the diagonals. You need both upstrokes and downstrokes. You don't notice a difference in the strokes when you're using a fine liner or a ballpoint pen, but later in the month when we're using different types of pens, doing an up and a downstroke is absolutely a different thing. And you'll start to notice those changes, especially when we use brush pens. Which, if you don't have a brush pen, don't worry, because I'm going to show you how to do the technique in pencil. You found going up the most difficult. Yeah, it is, because it does feel unnatural, but there are some letters that you need to do that. Like I noticed on the K, and things like that. And when you're doing certain flourishes, you're going to want that upstroke too. And we will talk about flourishes with each different type of writing that we do. So I wanted to be sure that I got that for you guys too. You haven't done this one yet. We have the curve, which you'll notice looks a bit like a C. But we need to do the curves in both directions, because there's certain letters that have the curve on the other side, and S is actually the curve in both ways connected. But yeah, so this is actually starting of an S. And then we've got the hills, and you want to make sure you're going fully up and fully down. And the same thing with the valleys. You're going down and up. So, you do end up with, no, do not eat that, please. Down and fully up. Sorry, I've got my 2.5-year-old on the lap. And then we have these diagonals that are kind of curved diagonals. And this will come in handy later on when we're doing some cursive work. And so we went up with those. And then we went down and curved kind of the opposite direction. And then I repeated the up, down, and then I also went across like an equal sign. And some of those get helpful for flourishes mostly. And then I put in some O's because, getting a full circle is going to be beneficial. And then I just repeated some of the other ones. So hopefully if you had any questions about that assignment, that was a helpful explanation. Did you put the pen cap on the floor? So I've had your ear for a little while. Let's make this the 2-minute warning for signing off. If you have any questions about what we've done so far, I'd love to hear them so that we can address them. And of course, anytime you have questions throughout the month, you can send me a message, because the schedule is not written in stone. It's not even hyperlinked yet, because not all the posts have been written. I've got drafts going for all of them, and I'm working on my part of the actual handwriting. But if we need to go back and address a certain portion, then I want to be able to do that either through Periscope or through a deeper post on the blog. I'm so thankful for all of you, Alexis, and for going through this series with me, because like I said, it's helped for me in learning consistency with my posting, and it's been very, very rewarding for me. I really appreciate you too, Connie. Thank you. Heads Up 7 Up. What is your first name? But thank you for being here. But I want to get some good input from you and get this to be a series that's really enjoyable for you, so that your time here doesn't feel wasted. Christy, it's nice to meet you. So that's all I have for tonight. I'm enjoying it with you guys. I really am. It's been very rewarding for me to know that I'm teaching you something that's valuable to you. Well timed for your Bible journaling? Good. Yeah, I think that was part of it too. When I was sharing pictures of my journaling Bible, I saw that lots of people, perhaps it will be someday, I saw that lots of people were afraid to write in their journaling Bibles because they didn't like their handwriting. And I don't want that to stop anyone, because the notes that you make in your Bible or in the margins of things or handwritten recipes are things that your family is going to truly treasure someday. And not being confident of your handwriting is a terrible reason to not pass that legacy on. And so I'm hoping that the more we practice, even just a little bit each day, that you start to see improvements that make you very proud in your own handwriting. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you so much. You guys are rock stars for sticking with me on a long broadcast, I am going to finish unpacking and get this little one to bed because she needs sleep. And so do I. And I will catch up with you guys tomorrow. There will be a new post tomorrow, and hopefully it goes live as scheduled so that we can catch up tomorrow night about what you thought of that assignment. I will see you all later. Thank you.